What's up, nerds? May is here to give us some games before the summer, and we have the 10 that we think you should look out for. It's pretty much the calm before the storm of high-budget titles coming later this year, so we're able to enjoy more indie releases. Be sure to let us know what you're excited for in the comments below. Now, onto the list. Trek to Yomi is a side-scrolling action-adventure title full of emotion and combat. Taking heavy inspiration from 50s Japanese cinema and the feudal Japan era, players experience the calamities that Hiroki faces in his life. This game sports a gorgeous grayscale presentation highlighting the shadows of the various environments players must navigate. This design direction was inspired by classic samurai films to provide a cinematic experience to the player. The combat is meant to be challenging and requires a level of skill to take down the foes that stand in your way. If you loved Ghost of Tsushima, then this 2D action title should be on your radar too. If you need more convincing, be sure to check out our hands-on preview on Noisy Pixel. You know, it's right there. From the same developer that gave us In Other Waters back in 2020, their upcoming title Citizen Sleeper is a narrative tabletop-style RPG set on Erland's Eye, a ruined space station that is home to thousands of people trying to survive on the edges of an interstellar capitalist society. Featuring the stunning character art of French artist Guillaume Songelin, Citizen Sleeper has players in the role of a rogue worker, washed up on a lawless station at the edge of an interstellar society in a customizable trading card-based RPG experience. During gameplay, you're able to manage the repairs and daily lives of the crew. The goal is to survive and ultimately thrive. As you expand the station, new characters are introduced who provide their skills to help, but it's up to the player to decide how to approach these missions as they uncover new information about the station through hacking. Time on Frog Island is like Animal Crossing with more puzzles, and just the charming vibe of it all is worth a look. Players take the role of a castaway on an island populated by frogs, with some of them being not so friendly. Although you can enjoy this breezy sandbox island game and explore at your own pace, you will eventually need to find a way off this island by doing favors for the various amphibian inhabitants, and engaging in some trades that can get you parts that you need for your ship. The game can be seen as a large fetch quest as you explore and take note of the various interactive objects and NPCs. There's no dialogue, but through pictures and clues, players are able to figure out what they need to do to make each resident happy and fix their ship. Also, some quests may affect other quest lines, so the world is constantly changing as you navigate this whimsical paradise. An island paradise is great, but you can only have flies in your soup for so long. What? Another Cotton game? Didn't we just review like 3 of these already? Well, I guess the year of Cotton continues with Cotton Fantasy. Unlike prior releases which were remasters or remakes of older games, Cotton Fantasy is an all-new sequel that will retain the shoot-'em-up shenanigans, but more than that, it wants to be the biggest game yet, with 6 playable characters and 16 colorful and varied stages to unlock, featuring vertical, horizontal, and even 3D movement. This series has been making a huge comeback this past year with the help of its charming characters and cute-em-up design. This entry aims to retain the retro design of the previous titles with a few new assets and extras. And don't worry if you haven't played the series before, you can start here or with any of the other titles, because these games are more about chasing high scores than lore. While the launch of Aion Chronicle 100 Heroes is still some ways away, in the meantime players will get to try the spin-off prequel called Aion Chronicle Rising this May. It may not have the fancy production values of the main game, but this is still a neat way to get introduced to the game's universe. Featuring simple and clean 2D graphics and an engaging 2D action battle system, players have high hopes for a franchise that is aiming to be a successor to the legendary Suikoden series. The gameplay revolves around adventuring through ancient rune barrows, where a group of heroes are tasked to explore to help a town in need. The goal is ultimately to bring peace to the locals, find treasure, and discover the ancient secrets these barrows hold. This narrative will tie directly into Aion Chronicle 100 Heroes, as players will meet a few of the main characters and play up to the event that begins the larger adventure. I don't know about you, but I'm always up for a good 2D action RPG. I mean, who isn't? Prinny Presents NIS Classics has been a welcome endeavor from the publisher to make these increasingly obscure RPGs more accessible. Volume 1 gave us PS2 cult classics Phantom Brave, the Bermuda Triangle Remastered, and Soul Nomad and the World Eaters. This upcoming second volume gives us another PS2 title in Makai Kingdom, but of interest is the inclusion of ZHP, Unlosing Ranger vs. Dark Death Evilman, which was originally released for the PlayStation Portable and was quite the sleeper RPG hit for its time. If anything, fans will want to check out Volume 2 just for ZHP alone. That's not to say Makai Kingdom isn't a title of note though. The game borrows many design elements from Disgaea and Phantom Brave as we follow the strongest overlord who has just been turned into a book. The goal is to reclaim the Netherworld. Western fans will be happy to find that Peta Mode offers a completely new story that hasn't been released in the West until now. ZHP is a very stylish RPG as you learn how to be a superhero through training to defeat Dark Death Evil Man. I mean, how cool is that? First Glover, and now this. Who keeps petitioning for these weird platformers to come back? Okay, so this isn't quite a remaster port of the Dreamcast game, love the Dreamcast. Instead, it's an all-new reboot for the series. We already got one famous Australian animal in Crash Bandicoot, and we recently saw a comeback for Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. So why not have a boxing kangaroo too? 3D platformers are typically a fun time anyways, and this one looks like it handles quite nicely and has some unique visuals. All things considered, this could be a fun little platformer alternative. Bandicoots, tigers, and kangaroos? All we can say is, g'day mate. Tokan Rambu is a multimedia franchise about beautiful blade boys based on historical blades. They have to fight against a group of history revisionists intent on changing the past. Protecting it is the Saniwa's mission as they work for the government of time. Tokan Rambu Warriors covers an alternative storyline, and the game has been out in Japan for quite some time already. Since it's a Warriors title, you get that dopamine rush of plowing through hordes of foes as these flashy characters, making this a great game to turn your brain off and relax with after a long day. Whether you're familiar with the source material or not, fans of the Warriors style hack and slash are probably just itching for another fix. Developed by Compile Heart and Feli Stella, Seven Pirates H tells the story of a young girl named Parute Kairi, who's determined to make a name for herself as a pirate. Alongside the pervy monster named Oton, she departs on a journey to find the treasures of the Monsupi Sea. As expected from the developers, this game is a turn-based RPG with a ton of fan service, and it originally came out on the Vita in Japan. First of all, Parute will have the chance to command a party of monster girls and face naughty enemies. But its most unique feature is the boo-bee training. Wait, why am I even reading this? Famitsu gave it 32 out of 40, so it must be pretty fun, even outside the fan service aspect. While the Sega CD got a little ahead of itself with its premature FMV titles, the genre itself is stronger than ever thanks to the lavish live-action production values. Centennial Case by publisher Square Enix is a live-action mystery adventure, and throughout this game players witness the tragic tale of the Shijima family, who have experienced many familial deaths over the past 100 years. The protagonist is a mystery novelist named Haruka Kagami, who utilizes her detective prowess to investigate the 4 deaths that have plagued this family's history. High-quality cinematography and live-action gameplay are at the forefront of this experience to immerse players in several eras of Japan, and it will feature an all-star cast with the likes of Nanami Sakuraba lending her talents. We don't get too many of these games, so don't let this one pass you by when it launches in May. And that's the list! Did we miss any games? Hit us up in the comments below, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great May, everyone.